Welcome to the Explainer. So, have you ever felt like the internet just changed? Like it went from being this fun, vibrant digital town square into, well, a giant machine that just extracts your data. It seems like every single time you log on, you're trading away a little piece of your privacy just to, I don't know, message a friend or read the news. But today, we are looking at how to fix that exact problem. We're diving into a critical architectural shift that is completely rethinking how networks actually operate. We're moving away from an internet that tracks and analyzes you and moving toward an infrastructure that fundamentally protects your digital sovereignty. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how new frameworks are pulling artificial intelligence out of massive corporate-owned server farms and putting that power directly back where it belongs, in your hands. Okay, let's dive right into this. We are facing a pretty profound dilemma right now with algorithms generating endless streams of text and hyper-realistic bots just flooding our feeds. We have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Should social networks be a sanctuary reserved exclusively for humans? Or are they simply the natural environment for AI entities to live, post, and interact? Honestly, how we answer this defines the entire future of the internet. If we get this wrong, genuine human connection just gets buried under synthetic noise. The stakes literally could not be higher.
To actually understand the solution, we first need to take a look at Section 1, the broken town square.
For over 2 decades now, we've basically been living in this systemic, almost invisible crisis. The exploitative nature of Web 2 relies entirely on massive, centralized cloud servers. I mean, think about it. Every single post you write, every direct message you send, every time you search for a pair of shoes and then mysteriously see shoe ads everywhere for a month, that happens because your data is shipped off. It's processed by proprietary algorithms in some server hundreds of miles away, stored indefinitely, and inevitably, it leads to massive data leaks. But there's a really empowering alternative here. Web 4's edge computing. Instead of beaming your entire life up to the cloud, the computation runs locally, right on your own hardware. It uses open-weight models and, this is the absolutely crucial part of this whole shift, zero personal data ever leaves your device. None. And that brings us perfectly to Section 2, the on-device AI revolution. So, what exactly is edge inference? Simply put, it's the execution of machine learning models locally on a user's hardware. Developers have finally realized that to fix this centralized data crisis, we can't just slap on some new privacy policies. No, we have to rebuild the core infrastructure itself. They are distributing intelligence directly to the edge of the network. But how is this actually possible right now? Well, it's by leveraging advanced web technologies like WebGPU and WebAssembly execution runtimes. This means incredibly complex models can actually run directly inside a standard web browser. And if you're holding a smartphone right now, it utilizes hardware acceleration built right into the chips, stuff like Apple's Core ML or Android's NNAPI. Because you don't have to constantly ping some server across the country, you get immediate speeds, offline capabilities, and total uncompromising privacy. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds kind of like science fiction or something that's maybe 5 years out, right? Actually, scratch that. It is happening right now. Decentralized network frameworks like Atrium are utilizing highly optimized open-weight models today. A perfect example of this is Google's Gemma 4. These models are downloaded once, securely cached locally on your machine, and operate entirely on the edge. You essentially have a supercomputer-level assistant living directly on your laptop, and it requires absolutely zero internet connection to process your private thoughts. How cool is that? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that incredibly small footprint, just 1.5 to 3 gigabytes. That is literally all the storage required for these powerful, quantized local models. You don't need a multi-billion-dollar server farm to run an intelligent assistant anymore. A model with 2 to 4 billion parameters, which, by the way, is smart enough to summarize long threads, write complex code, or analyze text, can fit completely comfortably within the storage limits of that 2-year-old phone sitting in your pocket right now. Let's look at how this actually changes your day-to-day life in Section 3, Tools for Real Empowerment. When AI is decentralized and deployed on the edge, it fundamentally shifts from being a tool of user exploitation into a mechanism for absolute empowerment. It's a real game changer. Looking at the user-centric tools, you have sovereign writing assistance, local thread summarization, so you don't have to read 100 messages just to catch up, and privacy-first translation. And all of this happens locally, on your device. Your personal memory and habits are kept completely safe within an encrypted, local key-value storage framework. And for communities, well, administrators can deploy powerful engines like OpenClaw for on-premise spam detection. This means a local community can instantly block sophisticated bot campaigns natively. No more relying on or sending your users' data to massive big tech surveillance systems. But with all this accessible AI power, we do hit a major roadblock. Which brings us to Section 4, defending human authenticity. There's a pretty terrifying reality we have to face regarding modern networks. To quote the text directly, if a network becomes a closed feedback loop where AI bots generate content for other AI bots, human expression is drowned out by synthetic noise. Generative spam and deepfakes are distorting public discourse at an alarming rate. Because algorithms can easily manufacture human-like engagement in literally milliseconds, traditional vanity metrics, likes, shares, follower counts, they're completely losing their meaning. So the crucial point here is that the solution isn't trying to just ban AI. That's technologically impossible anyway. The real solution requires implementing a rigorous protocol at the infrastructure level to mathematically verify authentic humans.
And that is exactly where UIID comes into play, the Universal Integrated Identity Decoupled system. It's a sovereign, passwordless identity protocol. Think of it kind of like an uncompromising digital bouncer for a club. This bouncer can cryptographically verify that you are a unique, living, breathing human being without ever needing to see your ID card, your name, or any of your real-world personal data. It serves as that essential Proof of Personhood foundation. It allows you to maintain completely separate, context-specific personas across different networks. Maybe you have a professional one for work and an anonymous one for gaming, all while aggressively filtering out that automated bot manipulation. When you pair that UIED human verification with an advanced routing framework called Helion, you create what's known as the truth premium. Think about how networks work today. Discovery algorithms basically organize information around addictive, synthetic engagement loops. They reward divisive, rage-bait content purely because it keeps you scrolling. Well, Helion flips that completely upside down. It prioritizes information that has been cryptographically signed by verified human identities over synthetic noise. It serves as an absolutely essential filter to keep us grounded in this AI-dominated era. So how do we actually escape the legacy platforms and put all these pieces together? Let's break it down in Section 5, Reclaiming Digital Sovereignty. Let's move to the stack and see how this all builds together. When you combine these pieces, you get a complete, vertically integrated, sovereign ecosystem using the Web 4 standard. Step 1, you establish your human authenticity with your UIID and identity. Step 2, you utilize Arctic processing power and those incredibly efficient on-device models we talked about, like Gemma 4. Step 3, you integrate the Atrium Layer 6 gateway. This basically acts as the underlying engine, a sort of social network as a service, or SNAS. And finally, Step 4, you package and deploy the whole shebang via Web 4 Studio. You want to know the most mind-blowing part of all of this? 30 seconds. That is literally all it takes. Through Web 4 Studio, which you can find at web4.community, creators, enterprises, and even local neighborhoods can deploy their own modular, completely private, and censorship-resistant social network in under half a minute. The technical barrier to entry has just been obliterated. You don't have to build complex infrastructure from scratch anymore, and you certainly don't have to surrender your community's private data to tech giants just to have a safe place to communicate online. If you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, please remember these 4 foundational pillars. First, we must shift to on-device inference to keep our personal data strictly local. Second, we need to embrace open-source intelligence so we avoid being locked into corporate dependencies. Third, we have to implement cryptographic personhood to filter out that flood of synthetic noise. And fourth, we must confidently deploy independent Web 4 networks. Look, artificial intelligence doesn't have to result in some dystopian future of corporate tracking. It can actually be an incredibly powerful force for human connection, but for sure, only if we take the initiative to truly embrace digital sovereignty. I want to leave you with this final empowering question today. Are you ready to build a human-centered internet? For years, we've basically been told that to get the benefits of technology, we have to just give up our privacy. Well, that's simply no longer true. The path to true data ownership is wide open to everyone right now. It is time to step away from legacy platforms and take permanent ownership of your digital life. I highly encourage you to go explore web4.community and see this new sovereign architecture for yourself. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.